Yeah, all right. Woo, yeah. Welcome to Fantasy Sports Addicts Anonymous. My name is Tom, Fantasy Sports Addict here.
Hi, Tom.
Howdy.
And my name is Ryan, and I'm a fantasy sports addict.
All right. Can we get a little more enthusiasm?
Woo!
Woo! We're very excited because this is the second time we've had to do this exact same podcast. Podcast 76, the calm before the fantasy baseball storm. That's right. The second airing of grievances for this. What happened, Ryan? Let's go right into the news section. Normally we talk about news. Here's news. This is the second time we did this podcast. What happened?
Well, we wanted to. There was a lot of Big Lebowski references and chat going on our website, and so you went back and rewatched it, of course, again.
Well, how do you not?
Right, and the intro song for the Big Lebowski credits and all that is Bob Dylan.
Right, it's a Bob Dylan song. So we thought, oh well, we'll just lead into our podcast, and if they happen to copyright flag us on YouTube, no big deal. Because, our videos are worth like a cent anyways.
Right.
So, right. Oh no, they took away a penny. Bob Dylan stole our pennies. Well, what Bob Dylan did this time, he literally crashed our whole video, collapsed it. It was blocked and banned in every country and permanently muted to the point where we could not even download
we can't even get the audio to re-import it. Like, it was just dicked.
We couldn't download it to fix it or cut out So fuck you, Bob Dylan. Your music is ancient. You sing off key and you sound like a cat with an accordion jammed up its ass.
But that's also why we didn't do any intro music this time.
It's very dry. It's very boring. I hate it without.
Maybe that's why I wasn't as excited.
That probably is why. I missed some music. I wanted a little tunage, We need an official opening song or something. We'll have to find that out, figure that out. We'll work on that. But yeah, this whole like borrowing copyrighted music is, even though we should be copyright cleared for it, we can't do it. We can't get away with it because it's YouTube automatically just.
Well, that's another thing that pissed me off. I played the song from a YouTube video clip. Going from YouTube clip to YouTube clip. Like, what the fuck difference does it make? It's still just fucking YouTube. Like, Jesus.
Well, you
said it, man.
What we played was like a fourth generation playback. It was like played from something onto something that was then played onto YouTube that was then transferred to our purpose. It was, so it's so bastardized in terms of copyright. I don't even know how they could claim it, but whatever. Enough of that. Enough Bob Dylan. Fuck him. I hope.
Right.
I hope we never have to deal with him again.
Part of the reason of playing that is it kind of fit the mood because, again, it's a little late news now, but Yordano Ventura died.
Yes, and Andy Marte. There was deaths in the baseball world over the weekend when we posted this video or this podcast originally on Monday, right? We went live Monday. So it's now like Wednesday, early Wednesday. So, we got kind of off track, I guess, with that. So, that's new news or old news now. We'll talk about it. Hopefully there are not any alternate facts relating to that. That was a political joke. Yeah, never mind. It's too late to be making jokes like that in terms of where we live and your acknowledgement of political things. Anyways, yes. What else is news, Ryan? We've had a few people sign up for our website, fantasysportsaddicts.com.
That we have. It's always nice when we get new addicts to join the website.
We always appreciate it, and especially when you pop on and you want to get a shout out, you're like, hey, let me hit that message board. Let me see what's going on the message board. So you hit that message board, and you're like, well, signing in. My name is. What are their names, Ryan? Let's hear.
Well, okay. So the first one that signed up, the newest guy is Mojofo.
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 Is that all one word, or is it like?
Yeah, it's all one word.
Okay.
He's got the mojo and he's a foe. I don't know, Mojofo.
Like, is it like pho? Like soup? F?
No,
Or is
like
it like
FO.
FO? FO. What does that mean? Front office?
It's like slang for a badass motherfucker. I don't know.
Well, all right. I don't know. I was curious. That's why I was
Hey,
asking. What?
well,
Either way.
I didn't make the name.
Well, no, we'll have to ask him. I'm just curious. I don't. You know what? Sometimes when I ask things out loud, I'm not asking you specifically. I've had to explain this to people in the past. I know that people get frustrated when I'm just asking questions randomly. I'm not asking you. I'm just thinking out loud rhetorically.
Okay.
So beg my
But
pardon.
anyways, Mojo Foe, thank you, welcome. He was posting on our forum how he's looking for that deep sleeper shortstop. He's going to steal 30 bases in the 18th round. He's looking for the ultra competitive fantasy baseball league. Leagues where owners don't drop off before the All-Star break.
Well, I think that was a comparison he was making. He was talking about like I want that really deep sleeper shortstop that'll steal me 30 bases. It's the same elusive search as you might find trying to find a really good league, right? And he's looking for a roto league, not an auction roto as he mentioned, but instead a regular snake.
Roto.
Well, we may have to persuade him to join an auction roto because that's what the FSAA is.
But also, there's enough interest in just our leagues in general where we could do a snake roto league as well as an auction roto league.
We'll keep the options open.
We're going to be drafting a lot.
Okay, so he's a guy that's excited about baseball. What else we got? I know we got another couple of baseball guys hanging out lately.
Yeah, and we have Lee, aka Regicidal. I'm particularly excited about having him because again, he has other YouTube channels. I don't have his YouTube channel up right now.
I think it's just called Regicidal.
Regicidal's Collection. It's a baseball card YouTube channel.
He has several YouTube channels though. Some of his channels have like way more subscribers than I think you and I could ever even hope for. So that's pretty. It's pretty sweet.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, we've got a couple of these YouTube people out there with they got like gaming channels and that sort of thing that follow us here and there, and they like to hang out. They like to talk sports. It's actually fun to compare notes. I mean, we should probably talk to them more about so you've got 50,000 subscribers. How do we get part of that? Not that we're stealing your audience. Just how do you get there? Am I wrong?
No. I mean, any help we get is nice.
Well, it'd be interesting. I mean, we should talk to these people more. But again, he found us through the baseball long-tailed cat of the internet, right? The common suggested links
coming up.
Yeah, so thank you, YouTube, for steering more baseball people towards our direction. That's pretty cool. And so he has a YouTube channel. The newest one is about collecting baseball cards. That's correct?
Yes.
All right.
Regicidal's Collection. Now, I don't know about you, but I used to collect baseball cards back in the day, and I loved it. I'll check out his video and see what his collection is.
I have some. I still have some. But I never really paid it. I didn't know, me, I didn't know baseball when I was a kid. I had a heart problem. I wasn't allowed to play sports or watch sports. I was like the Willy Wonka situation. Remember what was it? Yeah, it was Willy Wonka, remember? And his dad was like a dentist and he wasn't allowed to eat candy. And so he grew up to become a candy manufacturer.
Oh, Willy Wonka himself. I'm thinking of Charlie.
Well, yeah, no, the kid was fine. He just was poor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's why I was thinking, are you the grandfather?
No, I'm not the grandfather. I'm like Willy Wonka, where there was just, you weren't allowed to enjoy sports. And I didn't know what sports was. And now that's all I give a shit about. I'm like the crazy old kook that lives in a sports factory.
Right.
Anyways. Sorry.
But what I was saying about the Regicidal that I'm really excited about is he's also a subreddit fantasy baseball moderator.
So he's on Reddit. He's a moderator on Reddit. We could really. This is going to come in handy with all the hate we've been getting lately.
Right. We've been getting the decent amount of hate on the Reddit fantasy baseball.
I'm not on Reddit really, but I blame you. I think maybe you're typing wrong, or what are you doing that's offending all of Reddit, Ryan? Is there something you're doing wrong?
No, I'm just posting links to our video.
Is it your grammar? Do you have Bronson's disease on there or something?
No, I'm just copying the description. There's not even that. You just post the link and
we're just fucked anyways.
Right.
All right. Well, we'll get to that. That's coming up later in the
podcast.
We'll get to more of that. But all right. So we've got Regicidal. Hopefully, he can help us clarify some of these Reddit rules and the whole, getting around the haters and things like that.
What's a way to get good karma?
Right, because you apparently lost a lot of karma with some of these downvotes you got.
I did. I ended up pulling the video just because the hate was coming too goddamn hard.
What? No.
Not off of our YouTube. No. I just deleted the post on.
Yeah, but no, really? Oh my goodness. We have fallen victim to self-censorship. Really? No, I'm serious. Like, wait a minute. Wait, we'll get to this. Like, I want to get to this. Wait a minute. Should we just get to that now? Wait a minute. All right, wait. We got to finish the news.
I've worked hard for my karma points.
I understand. Oh, I'm so confused.
No, you don't understand.
Yes, I understand. I understand how karma points on the stupid Reddit works. Stupid ass Reddit. Anywho, look, we'll talk about this because I got to get to this quick. All right, let's wrap up the news. So we got new people. That's a shout out. If you want to get a shout out, hop on the website. We've had a lot of, like visitors and, guests on the website lately. Maybe people are a little afraid to sign up, sign in. It's a little intimidating. Some of the chat around there has been intimidating lately. We're talking about like 30 team dynasty leagues with like massive minor league rosters, like over 700 some players being drafted. Like, if you're a new timer or a new person that's never tried a dynasty that deep, and I will never try a dynasty that deep myself personally, you see that, you're like, I don't even know if I want to dip my toes in these waters, right?
Oh, yeah.
Feel free. It's safe. It's safe. It's okay. It's okay. Nobody's holding judgments at fantasysportsaddicts.com.
Not all of us are in 20-team dynasty league with 25-man minors. Like,
no, there are some very aggressive dynasty leagues out there, and they are impressive to watch, if nothing else. But that doesn't mean you have to be in one. That doesn't mean you have to be intimidated by that. So if you're on the website, kind of like ghosting around, sign up, get yourself a shout out in the podcast or the videos. That's all I got to say about that. Yeah, feel free to pop in. Tell us about who your favorite second baseman in this year's draft's going to be, like whatever. But so new news. Obviously, a couple of players in the Dominican died this weekend, right? Ventura and Andy Marte. Ventura, very promising.
Which is sad. One of the most upsetting things that I saw about the Yordano Ventura is supposedly someone found him on the scene of the accident and robbed him and left him to die.
Well, again, that's just despicable if that is in fact the case.
I'm not saying for sure that that's true. That's just an article, something I saw on Twitter.
Well, let's go back to this whole situation. There is no definitive, there's no toxicology report. We don't have any definitive information about that. There's all these loose reports and hearsay, nothing's sourced, nothing's cited. We haven't seen anything concrete or specific. So was he impaired when he had this vehicular accident? We don't know specifically, but the reports say possibly or yes. Was he
supposedly? And then again, I don't necessarily deny it, or
we don't know. We don't know, but it'll all come out in the wash. It's just when you think about the totality of this whole thing, it is very tragic. It is very unfortunate. And it makes you wonder, like, is there something teams should be doing more to, like, again, we don't know exactly what happened. It seems very vague. But let's be honest, like, we talked about this in the previous podcast. We'll go over it a little lighter here. But honestly, like, this plays into the Reddit stuff we're going to talk about. And I just want to make this point again. It's not. Look, when you're in your 20s and you're young and you got the fame and you got the money and you got the yes man and everybody's just, you can't do anything wrong, right? I can't say that I might not have had some sort of mishap with that kind of, and I'm surprised I didn't with what I had already. I didn't have anything compared to what some of these guys have in their mid-20s. You know what I'm saying?
Right. We got Boo Rad Holla. He's just talking about not giving them so much money, but that's not the case. I mean,
well, you can't. They're worth that much. I mean, you literally can't. That the whole players' union would fall apart if you didn't give them what they're worth, right?
Right. Again, they're going to get theirs, and I mean, hopefully within these like baseball camps that they go to when they're like 12 years old until they sign at 16 or whatever the fuck, right? Right. Hopefully within there they teach them a little bit more life skills and how to grow and respond when you have that kind of money.
Well, just the pressure, the responsibility. And what's ironic about this, again, we like, man, your pugs are going berserk. With the history with Yordano Ventura and the history of Oscar Taveras in 2014 and that Game 6 in the World Series and how upset he was and tweeting pictures of his buddy's dead corpse, and then apparently pictures of Yordano Ventura's dead corpse have been tweeted, and I have elected not to search for them, even though I did find Oscars. I mean, think about it. Like, it's just so ironic and so unfortunate, and you have to wonder, I mean, is this like repeat circumstances? And even if it's not, something is still just like, there's some sort of disconnect here. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what, but I think when we talk about a lot of these players that have died in baseball, like in football, it seems like, and again, I don't want to break this down to be too simplistic or too anything, but like I think the statistically safest sport to play fantasy wise now is basketball. Very few people are getting arrested. Very few people are dying. Football, it seems like players get arrested if you lose a dynasty player, right? It's like, oh my God, Aaron Hernandez, you got arrested, that whole thing, right? Baseball, your players die.
Which
to play fantasy, but there's something systematically going on here, and I don't know if it's related to the Dominican or young players or teams or culture or what, but
I mean, because this is an epidemic at this point.
Well, right, we've lost 3 very young players, and I'm counting out Andy Marte here because he was technically no longer in the major leagues, and he was our age. He's our age. He died in the same weekend, and I don't want to minimize his loss or his death or anything like that.
No,
but we're talking about like Taveras, Jose Fernandez, and of course Yordano Ventura, and when you're losing such sky-high potential and talent to what seem to be very senseless losses and very careless mistakes, something's wrong. Something's going on. It's an epidemic. It's 3 young players lost in the span of 3 years. Is it not? So something's wrong there.
It just sucks, and hopefully in the future, these young players can kind of learn from this and have a designated driver. Like the NFL, they got their
rideshare program. You're guaranteed.
No, not the rideshare. They got the fall guy within their crew where like, oh, there's drugs or whatever. There's the one guy that's hanging out that's gonna like, yeah, I started the fight, or yeah, they're my drugs.
That's the guy in the posse that takes the fall for everybody.
Exactly.
And then he gets paid handsomely, and he does his little time and probably gets off. And
right. In the major leagues are these, young players. Like, fuck it. You go back to the DR. you got enough money, just pay some guy to have your own personal chauffeur.
Well,
whatever.
Maybe their roads are just that bad. I don't know. Maybe they're just not safe. See, I'd like to see their traffic statistics generally. Maybe it doesn't matter. You could be as drunk as Ryan and I usually are for one of our podcasts, or as sober as like the Mormon guy next door. And maybe their roads are just so bad that like you're going to crash no matter what. I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of traffic accidents. And if this story about him getting robbed as he's dying is like, I hate to think what circumstances those were. That's fucking ridiculous.
Again, it's just some poor desperate person seeing an opportunity to capitalize.
That's just, God, what a shitty way to go out if that is in fact what happened to the guy. I mean, fuck. I loved the way that he played the game, that fire, that both he and that's what was in common with all three of these guys who've died in the last 3 years. You know what I mean? Like they were all sort of like fiery players, very compelling, very personable, gregarious, like large as life. Varying stages of their career. So maybe that's something in common. Maybe they were just too big for this world. I don't know.
Possibly, but speaking of, I'm kind of a little bit of a transition. I mean, the Jose Fernandez, the Reddit hate, just our videos, our sign we have of Jose with his X's over his eyes
on our set, which we will not take down.
Are we being disrespectful? Maybe.
No. Well, I don't care if
it's nothing intentional. I mean, our bus video or players,
we were going to draft
targeting.
We wanted to take Jose.
Yeah, I think we took it a little too far in that video, but we were kind of drunk. But at the same time,
no, we were having fun. And you know what? Jose's having fun. He had fun on his way out.
I mean, so in the bus video, this wasn't even the players we're targeting. The Jovan Suarez says that Jose Fernandez's picture in the back is disrespectful, bro. I enjoy you guys, but come on. I know you guys are edgy, but that's going too far.
And I disagree.
You did. I disagree with just the video, or not the video, the face, the picture in the background. Like that's fine. That's not going anywhere.
Well, when you're pretending to be Jose Fernandez, sniffing and snorting lines of cocaine, pretend cocaine, in the players we're drafting video, which we were talking about players we wish we could have drafted at that point. That was like he didn't even see that video, so he hasn't. His head would explode when he saw that video.
Right,
and the guy in the background was bad.
Honestly, that video, I admit, I was drunk. I was having too much fun.
That's not an excuse. And you know what? So was Jose. He was drunk and he was having too much fun.
Well, exactly.
Listen, if you're a rock star and you live the rock star lifestyle, you know the consequences that come with that lifestyle. I don't want to hear this. I really don't want to hear this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that he died. It's a shame. All of baseball.
Nobody loved Jose more than us.
Especially me. I was a multiple dynasty team owner. Okay, and I loved Jose Fernandez. I loved him. Like as you love a fantasy sports.
I mean, how can you not as a baseball fan?
He was exciting, and I wanted to see 20 years of that guy. But he died doing something very reckless and irresponsible, especially given his life circumstances. And everyone on his team said, "Go home. Don't do that." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he did what he did, and you go out and you live that lifestyle. You know the risks. You know what can happen. And I to whitewash it and minimize it. I'm sorry the guy died. But we have this thing called the Darwin Awards in our society that everybody else thinks is fucking hilarious, and it's similar stories, but somehow because I don't know, he's a beloved baseball player or something, and not just some Joe Schmo, you can't have the same attitude towards his removing himself on his own doing from the gene pool.
And we don't even blame him for it. Like, I mean, there's whole bunch where it says edgy in quotation marks. I don't know if edgy is the right term or we're just flawed.
I'm not edgy. I'm not edgy. I just don't give a shit. Like, I am who I am. Am I edgy? Am I flawed? I'm just who I am.
I just know that if I was in a similar situation as Jose, young, great pitcher, and I get in a fight with my pregnant fiance, I'm just as likely to go get fucked up and go out on my boat.
And possibly,
and I don't
let me ask. No, I can't. I can't. Let me ask you this. Ryan. If you're fucked up that night, is anyone else, even your friends, your best friends in the world that are out with you, are they piloting your watercraft?
No.
No, you never drive another man's boat. Same way
you never drive. You never fucking You never captain a boat. You never drive someone's car. You never grill on another guy's grill.
Exactly.
And you don't.
Same way you don't
another
fuck his wife. Exactly. It's the whole fucking thing. I mean, it's just like that's another man's property, and so like, let's not kid ourselves as to what happened. And that doesn't diminish the loss. That doesn't diminish the man's character. But let's not treat him like Christ on the cross sacrificing himself for our sins in some sort of Christianity like paradigm here, okay? Like I'm sorry to like go there, but like that's how people seem to be reacting on Reddit and on our YouTube comments.
And I mean, these people are long-term addicts because we've talked about Jose ad nauseum. Like I was actually waiting to board a cruise when I found out that Jose died.
I woke up to the most terrible dynasty news I've seen since Oscar Taveras.
But let's move on. Speaking of the dynasty leagues and Oscar Taveras, we kind of have a precedent, but
we do. What do you do? What do you do?
Picks.
Well, I was gonna say. So you're in a dynasty baseball league or a keeper league. See, dynasty, you probably keep all your players. Or, we do these hybrid leagues where it's like mostly dynasty, but partial keeper. So you drop a few. You drop your whole bench, basically.
You drop 5. Any starting position spot you keep.
But, what do you do in a situation where, like, oh my God, I lost Jose Fernandez or I lost Yordano Ventura or when I had him as a prospect, it was Oscar Taveras. We do this thing called comp picks. We came up with it because, again, quite frankly, I was so like...
I just tried to talk you off of the ledge of retiring for fucking fantasy baseball together. That's it. I mean, this is before we started our YouTube channel and our community.
No, yeah. Like, I had just gotten divorced. I was literally in seclusion in the West Wing watching the World Series, bawling my eyes out. Like, Ryan, I can't do it anymore. I can't play. I can't have fun. My life is over. And we decided comp picks seemed to be the way to go. And what do you do with a comp pick? Well, so you don't just give them like any pick of like, the free agent pool left over from last year or like the new rookies or the import players or the hot prospects. Comp picks would be in a dynasty or keeper situation, players that get dropped. Right, so we've decided that.
Right, so it's not essentially the number one pick because honestly, in dynasty leagues, the number one pick is almost always a young prospect who wasn't in the player pool the previous year or a import signee.
Well, and that's too much. That pick belongs to a rebuilding team.
Exactly.
Like it's too much. Yes, you lost a player, and there's a lot of this is a controversial choice we've made to do this. But it's kind of like a goodwill towards other managers in your league. It's not just about like, oh, Tom was going to quit. And we joked about this a little harder in our last version of this podcast, but it's not so much about just like, oh my God, Tom. It's about like, if this happened to another manager that wasn't us, one of us, how would we want to like keep them engaged and like sort of like, I mean, again, everybody recognizes like when you lose like either your top prospect or like, basically the number 2 pitcher in baseball.
No replacing Jose Fernandez.
Exactly. Like when you lose these players.
You can't replace that. Like, I mean, people are, blow up the league. It's, dicks.
Start over, fresh draft, right? Yeah, no, I mean, you just kind of, what do we do that's sort of like middle of the road to keep everyone happy, and what's sort of like equitable. And I don't think you'll be in any, like, some people might get upset, but I think for the most part, if you're in a very steady league where there's like a lot of the same returning managers, especially with the dynasty setup like that, where you've had the same managers for like 6 years or more, they're going to be like, yeah, that really sucks because, like, man, I remember how much you traded to get so-and-so, or I remember you had him the whole time when he was a minor league player and came off your minor league roster and finally made your, like, they know the whole situation. So nobody's really going to begrudge anybody that. And I think it's a good way to. So now in our leagues, again, because we have this comp thing, it's a good way to compensate people.
I mean, I didn't think we were ever going to do it again.
Well, yeah, after the Oscar Taveras thing, like, it was unprecedented. It was bizarre. I don't even know why we came up with it, but somehow we did. And then, like, Jose Fernandez dies. And we're like, and I own him in our same dynasty leagues. And I'm like, how is this happening again, but even worse? And then now it's happened again for people with Yordano Ventura. And it's, we're talking about varying spectrums here, varying, degrees of the spectrum of player talent and player, maturity.
I mean, okay, obviously Ventura is not nearly as good as Jose.
No, but he's still a great
keeper. Out of, like, if you keep 20, drop 5, he still is a keeper.
Right. And so, especially if you traded for him last season or something like that, trying to, like, bank on a rebound or a rebuild, again, I was even looking at trying to trade for Yordano Ventura as, like, some sort of makeup for having lost Jose Fernandez. You know what I'm saying? And so now we have this situation twice in both of our dynasty leagues. Well, our dynasty leagues and the FSAA dynasty.
Right.
So we'll revisit this I think a couple of times. And
so we're gonna do the comp pick regardless, but I mean, if you guys think it's good, if you guys think it sucks, like, whatever, he's dead, deal with it.
Yeah, a lot of people have that. I think a lot of people have that attitude. Like, it's just like, but it's not like Jose Fernandez just retired at the peak of his career. So I think that's the differentiation between, like, losing a David Ortiz. You know what I'm saying?
And then again, it's you're picking someone that somebody else isn't keeping.
Right. So I'm not going to get nearly the value if I decide not to keep one of my own players. So we'll see what happens. We'll talk about it more. But I think it's something, if you've got a dynasty league out there where, managers have lost either of those players, do the decent thing. Try to give them throw them a little bone, just minor. We're not talking first pick in the draft, the number 1 prospect, anything like that. Like,
Right. And again, you're not replacing Jose. You're picking someone that somebody else isn't keeping. So yeah. I like it.
Maybe I'll get Ian Kennedy or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, right? Boy, that sure soothes the pain. You know what soothes the pain more? Putting X's over Jose Fernandez's eyes. I'm sorry. Like, dude, the guy was irresponsible and died. And, like, I could be like, oh, I hope I get something to make up for him with my comp pick. Or I could be like, well, he sure was fun to watch while we had him, and let's just have a little fun with him afterwards, because we sure like that memorabilia we have.
Right. It's not like we went out and bought those after he died so we can, like
trash him,
fun
right?
of it. No, he's been a fixture of our set for freaking since they gave these things away, and I bought them off of eBay because that's how big of a Jose fan I am.
Right. Well, me too. Well, remember we had to get him because I made the trade for him that same year. So, it's too bad he's gone. It's too bad Yordano's gone. It is a shame. And we will miss them. And we are saddened by their loss. But if we make jokes, that is our way of coping in paying tribute. And I think these people who were so fiery and had so much fun would probably want it that way. I'm just going out on a limb. I'm probably speaking for the dead here, but I feel like I feel like they would have appreciated instead of the sitting around and moaning. Let's have a little fun.
I would like to think so. And, Jose, he is now one of our fantasy gods. We pray to him.
He's been elevated. So he's up. Even though he's got X's on his eyes, he couldn't be a fantasy god without the X's on his eyes. So there you go. I mean, that's how we feel. So I hope people can come to terms with our joking about Jose being dead.
Yeah. Brad Holler, he's still waiting for the jokes, but I mean, again, they're not jokes. But let's move on.
Well, I was gonna say I hear rubbing. I hear this rubbing. Are you gambling? Are you playing 21 or something right now? Are
no,
you playing some blackjack?
I just do that when I'm thinking, reading. But
okay, we got chat. We got comp.
Yeah. So this podcast is obviously the calm before the fantasy baseball storm, and that's because Yahoo is right about to open up.
So yes, we're like a day away at this point. As we speak, it's about to become January 25th. In theory, Yahoo leagues will open January 26th,
which is Thursday. I don't know what time on Thursday.
Well, all I know is that starting tomorrow around midnight, I'll be hitting refresh over and over.
Right.
So oh God.
So right now the question is because the live drafts don't start until February 2nd. Now the main question is, well, do the live drafts, is that just leagues, day one public leagues,
right? Like
start a league, or is the mock draft lobby going to be open up on the 26th or February 2nd?
It's not going to be open on the same day leagues open. I can tell you that. I feel like with a certainty, mock drafts will not happen day one, but I could see mock drafts happening before real drafts happen. So like maybe mock drafts on like Monday. You know what I mean? Because so like right now we're coming up on this Thursday. Next Monday, maybe that's when mock drafts start, and then hopefully next Thursday real drafts start. I hope they sort of like roll out the mocks before the real shit.
I mean, you obviously always want to do at least one mock before your first real draft, unless you're just that much of an addict where you're like, fuck it, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Well, we do that all the time. I mean, sometimes we don't even have the chance. That's the way Yahoo opened up last year. We didn't have the chance to get into a mock. We just rolled in blind on League 666, a public league. That's right. It was like 1 a.m. And we're like, well, we're doing it. Like, there we go. All right, we're doing a draft. And like, no research, just going in blind based on like what you remember from the year before. And, it was fine. Yeah, it turned out to be a fun league anyways. Honestly, sometimes those really super early leagues, as much as everybody's like, oh, don't do a public league or don't do an early league, some of those super early leagues, you get some diehards in there.
Well, because they're just like us, where they can't wait to jump into a draft.
Like, oh my God, it's baseball. Oh my God, it's starting. It's what?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have some of those managers that drop out that aren't there, but there's definitely going to be a couple that are just fucking fully committed, addicted, whatever.
Well, and even if it's not just like a public league you get into early, say you get into an early mock, you're not ready to commit to a full league yet. But get into these early mocks. I mean, again, going way back, you and I met the good Reverend Nate Dogg, in a mock draft. I think it was like an early season mock draft. And he drafted like a super young team. And you and I are so dynasty focused. We're like, so are you like a dynasty fan? Were you drafting a dynasty team? Or like, what the hell's going on over here? And he's like, well, I really like these young blah. And I was just kind of seeing where they were going, and we ended up striking up this massive conversation with the kid, and he's a huge baseball fan, and now he's like a fixture of like all of our leagues. You know what I mean? And he's a reverend. And what other segment of life would you and I be talking to a reverend? You know what I mean?
Right. And again, so, like, you get really good managers in there, potentially. And same thing with mocks. And that's another thing I want to say is just when you join these leagues or these mocks, if you guys can just do us a favor and pimp our YouTube channel or our website, like we're trying to build that community, and it's just it's a word of mouth. Like that's the only way people are going to find out about this shit. So just like whatever league you're in or mock draft that you're doing, like just throw us a
bone. Talk about our website, fantasysportsaddicts.com. That was shameless, Ryan. That was shameless. That was, I mean, I wasn't even going there. Well, I was just gonna say, but like, you know, find more people. Like, I don't say you have to bring them here, but like, that's a good place to find people. Our website is a great place to find people to get into mock drafts or good leagues. Like, it doesn't have to be the FSAA league. Start your own goddamn league. Be the commissioner of a really kick-ass league yourself. Find some good people in some mock drafts. I mean, every so often, you'll find people. Just reach out.
That's how it all started. Is I think the very first league I commissioned, where I just said fuck it, I started the league, and I think it was like NBA All-Star League, where I just went to like previous leagues and got the best managers and all joined, and like we're still in leagues with some of these guys today.
Absolutely, and hopefully people can find that. I mean, you just got to go out there and look for it. And some of these early season drafts and these early season mocks, you know, be ready for them, because just like, even if it's not an FSAA thing where we're all like mobbing a mock draft or mobbing a league suddenly, like a swarm of locusts, jump in on your own. Actually, you know what? I got to say that. Avoid leagues with us for your own sake, because not every league.
At least one or two leagues.
You have to. All right. Look, let me just say this. Like, I don't even claim to be that good at anything ever. I'm not. I suck at everything. Sometimes I win, sometimes I lose. Mostly I lose. But like, it's not just like, you know, you and I, if we're just playing amongst ourselves, it's like, oh, Ryan won. Oh, Tom won. Whoop-de-doo. But like when we have these other addicts in, it's like, oh shit. Like things just got real. And like, we all know who everybody's drafting and who's targeting the same player. It's a nightmare. And all the guys that you think you have stashed and they're your best sleepers and your best late
you're
targets,
going to be able to get no problem in other leagues.
They'll go 3 rounds. We all
like the same guys.
They'll be going 3 rounds before you think they're even going. So as much fun as that is to get in a league that competitive, you should also like, you know, do one that's not an addicts league, just to kind of like,
I'm sure
have your own fun. You have to. I mean, you have to. You have to. Like, it's been a long time since I've done a league without you in it somehow, Ryan, and I actually miss it. Like, do you remember that show, The League, where what was his name? I forget what the fucking dude, the bald guy. Andre. Like, Andre's in this other league, and like he's the bitch of the league, you know, all the people from the show. But he's in this other league, and because he's like combining all this knowledge from all the other people that kick him around like dirt, he's like the pimp of the fucking side league he's in. And they make him quit. They make him quit the side league like it's too good for his ego. like, I mean, it's kind of like that.
I mean, I get what you're saying, and yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. And
well, no,
any of the addicts, they can attest to that. They agree.
Right. I mean, you can just run a trade on some of these leagues sometimes and nobody else that you know is in there. I mean, but again, you got to try it.
There's still sometimes where you get everybody you want and you're still wrong and your team sucks, like your winners league you did last year.
Yeah, that was last year. We thought, all right, so I was in the league. Nobody else was in it, but we did a live stream.
We were all drafting it.
Yes, everybody was there. All the addicts were like, oh, wow, Tom's in a winners league. Let's all help him draft. Let's all compare notes. And so we're all drafting what we thought was like the best team ever.
You got every player you wanted.
Every player we wanted. And I literally ended up in fucking dead last no matter what. Like it was a winner's roto auction, I think. And like I think I finished dead last. And we were just like, wow, man, you just like tore off. Everybody was like, you tore that league's head off and shit down its throat. You know, I was like, wow, we're so proud of ourselves. Nope, nothing.
And again, that happens too. Which is it's just fun. I mean, fantasy.
I'm excited. I'm excited for fantasy baseball. And I know there's been a lot of bad news with these players dying. And it's a bummer, like, but you know, spring training's right around the corner, man. Fuck it. Let's go pitchers and catchers, you know?
Right. So again, talking about leagues, we are going to do the FSAA leagues. We're going to at least do the head-to-head snake, the roto auction. There's talk for a roto snake, and there's been a lot of clamoring for a fresh dynasty.
No.
Yeah.
No. Fresh dynasty.
All right,
we can't be in trillions of leagues, everybody. Some of you are going to have to start leagues that we can't be in. That's all. I mean, that's what the website's for. FantasySportsAddicts.com. Hit the message board or that league chat. Ryan and I can't be in every dynasty league. We're like literally running out of room for dynasty leagues, especially if it's on Yahoo. So like,
we're gonna have like a main account of nothing but our dynasty league,
like a dynasty account,
side account for the other leagues,
like head to head and FSAA leagues. Yeah, I mean it's like we got to get to some point where like, you know, we don't have, or maybe just you know, I don't know, maybe ESPN gets better or Fantrax gets better where we can have more teams, or Yahoo adds more teams. We keep waiting for that. Who knows? But as it is, like we're running out of teams. You know,
but I can tell you right now, we're doing a fresh dynasty league.
No. All
right, I'm doing a fresh dynasty.
Why do you want to do a fresh dynasty every single year? I mean, do you ever run out of dynasties? Do you quit? Like, see, the only way I see it making sense to do a fresh dynasty draft every single year or every season is if you're like somehow like bailing on another one further down the line. You know what I mean? Like one you were in for like 9 years and you're like, well, the team's fucked. I rode it into the ground. Now I'm out. Let somebody rebuild it. Give it to Bronson. I don't know. I mean, like, I just don't see the whole I'm jumping into 1,000 new dynasty leagues.
Well, it's not 1,000. It's one. And I mean, we did blow up a dynasty league last year, did we not?
We did, but we also had another one, and like I feel like I'm in like 5, and now I got to go to 6. It's like I think I even have more than that. Even I don't know. I don't even know how many. There's like a keeper that's JD's, and like I can't even keep up with this. I've got so many.
True.
Well, so I'm trying to keep. I'm trying to separate what's dynasty versus what's redraft, even at this point in my mind, and it's like I need 3 separate accounts on Yahoo to keep track of all these leagues. That's how bad it's become, and it's going to become even worse unless Yahoo does something to give me more teams per single account.
I mean, it's again, a lot of teams is a lot of team. We all can't be JD Baller or J Money Smooth, where like they're playing 30 teams and crazy deep dynasties. And
I really wonder how that's even possible. I sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm sweating, and I think about the number of teams that like a J Money or a JD has, and I'm like, oh my god, I didn't set like 19 lineups. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm like I'm like in their shit. Oh my god, I didn't set like, but like I set 5, but I forgot the other 20 something. Like, oh, like what? That is so many teams. That is insanity. And they're all in like
he only had 25 teams last year.
Okay, well, but it's not just all on Yahoo. It's on like ESPN, Fantrax, CBS. Yeah, like there's probably a flea flicker in there somewhere. I mean, it's just too much. It's too much. To me, that's too much, and I would like literally never sleep. I would lose my goddamn mind.
You get the night sweats and realize you got 80% of your league lineups.
Exactly. No, I was like, what? Oh, dear Lord. You know, like, that's too many.
So speaking of dynasty and dynasty leagues, Kind of switching gears where I'm going to talk about basketball, but the same theory
situation. Yeah. The same logic applies here. Let's talk. All right. Hopefully we don't lose too many people hanging out because we've had good show tonight. Good people hanging out. Appreciate you sticking around if you like fantasy basketball. We're about to talk about Ryan's fantasy dynasty teams here. It's dynasty basketball. Ryan's teams are old. They're old. They're very old.
I've been in win now and competitive since the league started.
And you're basically like on the outside looking in this year for fantasy playoffs. You're like, I don't know. I think my team's kind of fucked.
Right. You know, my
team not winning.
My team has I haven't had hardly any turnover of my players, but it's just gotten to that point where my team's gotten worse just because of age and regression, and other teams have gotten better.
Well, I mean, teams like mine that were tanking and teams like Bronson's that are now tanking, and you've traded away first-round picks for years. You have no real youth. I mean, you have some youth, but I think what we decided in the last podcast, we'll just sort of sum this up a little bit. Your teams are right in that middle point. It's not like you inherited the worst team in the league and you're taking over a fresh dynasty situation, total rebuild.
It's not a full tank where you have no affiliation to any player on your roster.
Right. But you're okay, do I try to play up, maybe hopefully barely make the playoffs, possibly have a chance to play for an outside chance at a championship, or do I nosedive?
That's what I did in my league, or your league, or no, my league, and then your league is the league where I'm wanting to just kind of blow it up.
Well, and even in your league, it's not a given thing for you.
No.
So you're similar. I mean, you don't have clone teams, but you're in similar circumstances. So in my league, you've got LeBron and you've got some older players, but they're not bad. But you're trying to decide who do I trade these players for? What do I do? Do I get just picks? But see, I think it's kind of one of those situations. You can either go two ways with this or three ways. But mostly it's either I go hardcore into the tank, sell off assets at a total loss, go for draft picks and young players with upside, so LeBron for a couple of first round picks and maybe I don't know, what would be Brandon Ingram or something like that, depending on who owns who and who owns what. You know what I mean? It'd have to be a big piece plus some draft picks, right? You'd have to be aggressive if you're doing something like that with LeBron. But your marketplace for LeBron isn't that, because anybody who's got the players you'd probably be going for isn't going for LeBron.
Aren't looking to add a LeBron, right?
Right. So you're in this sort of middle ground again, because just the nature of your situation where you're not totally in the tank and you're not tanking inherently.
And you're more of I also don't want the top teams to get that much better anyways.
That's true. Which gives you leverage when you're talking about trades. Think about when you're trying to make these trades. You can be well, hey, I've got this deal. You can even lie, you got this deal. Tom's up there in second place, and he's talking about going for LeBron, and I'd hate to give Tom the championship. You know what I'm saying? So whoever you're talking to, you're just kind of gassing them up. Hey, you're right on the edge. Why don't you try to make a play for the championship? I'd hate to just give it to the guy that's already got it,
Right. Yeah, there is some salesmanship for sure in any trade that you're doing. And if you can pit two managers against each other, either real or
perceived, fake. Yeah. So, I mean, I have no problem gassing things up when I have to, but I mean, you're legitimately in a tight spot because you have either young players that you can trade for a boatload and sort of change the entire direction of your teams.
But those are kind of my cornerstones of my rebuild
that you should build around. Now, if you're going to build around them, that's what I'm saying. It's more Like this is, if you're in this situation, it depends on how your team's built no matter what. Like Ryan has this punt free throw strategy team for basketball, and it works very well for him. He usually wins 5-4 in head-to-head leagues every week, and it's very effective, and he's played for many championships with that. But you're in that rebuild zone. So you can change your entire strategy, your entire build strategy. It just depends on how aggressive you feel like getting. I mean, you're going to tear this whole thing apart and like strip the identity of your team down and build a completely different way.
And again, a lot of that kind of depends on which trade I'm able to make.
Well, that factors in too, because again,
who do I trade off? Like, if I trade Drummond, then I'll probably try to move my other bigs.
So you're going to go from having a massive tower of power front court team to maybe a threes and guards team, right?
It just depends on who I get back, what draft picks I pick. But I don't want to, basically call this year a wash and maybe next year. But basically, I only want a 1-year turnaround. I'm not going full tank.
Well, yeah. So I think a team in your situation where you're middle ground of a 12-team league or 14-team league, I think where
I'm in that dreaded spot of NBA teams where they're fighting for that 8th spot and late lottery.
Kind of like the Suns that are now 3.5 games out of the fucking playoffs.
Yeah.
Why? How? Why? What? That's a mistake when you're trying to rebuild a franchise. And what you are trying to do is rebuild, but you can't go full tank because you've got too many good young pieces where you've been smart with your drafting already and trades, right? You've got your Devin Booker, which, I mean, however you managed to get that, ridiculous. You've got a nice young piece to build on and a Suns fan, yay. Now you've got your Drummond, which again, not youngest possible, but known quantity, still very young and a great dynasty piece to build around.
Yeah, absolutely. Cornerstone piece.
Probably. I mean, again, he's not the ace of your team, but he's your cornerstone, at least defensively, or at least a piece to build around defensively. So, yeah, I mean, you're looking at more of a retool than a outright tank, and so you got to try to get your older players.
I want to move LeBron. I want to move DeAndre, Jordan, a couple others.
But when you move players like that, are you prepared to sell them at a slight loss?
That's the problem I'm running into, where I haven't been able to find anything that I've liked. I've offered LeBron in a package for Giannis, KP, Embiid, all shut down.
Well, you're not going to get a young, guaranteed stud. I don't think. I mean, you need again, those players aren't on top flight teams necessarily. Not many of them. And again, if they are, they're not moving them anyways. What you need to look for is those just subterranean level. You need Giannis before he was even 5th round value. You know what I mean? And that's hard to find. Think about if you would have had to have done this years ago to trade, LeBron for Giannis. But I'm trying to think who's out there that's sort of lower level, mid level with still upside that you could get for, think about LeBron or I'm trying to think what you could do because you've still got a few. Who else would you move? You got DeAndre Jordan, and he's such a specific player. That's kind of what your limitation is. That's the trouble. I mean, you've got very specific players. So not only do you have older players, they're specific to your strategy. So you've got to find teams that employ your similar strategy, probably.
Right.
So not just guys that are trying to win, but guys that have the same strategy you have. And again, it's just all getting a little bit more complicated as we go here. So do you have targets? I mean, is there anything that you think you should go for in terms of your...
Well, I mean, the players I've been trying to go for, I haven't gotten, and I'm not used to this whole like rebuilding kind of situation.
Well, and I'm not either. Well, not anymore. But when I did it wrong.
I wouldn't mind packaging DeAndre and Dwight.
But for what? What would you get?
Well, I mean, there's the team that has Whiteside. So again, trying to target someone that, where it fits. Because again, the fit is, important. It takes two to tango, obviously.
Yeah, it's the most important factor in a trade. Like, find somebody that's got similar, like if you're trying to sell a surplus, find somebody that lacks that surplus. And
or it just matches what you're going for.
Right. Team strengths or team situation. Yeah, whatever. We know it. We go over it a million times.
Right. No, see, he has D'Angelo Russell.
Okay, what are you going
to Zubac.
See, I thought you were anti
I don't like Russell.
Deloading. Yeah. So
no. Hold up one second. I'm grabbing a beer. Explain why I don't like them.
Okay, I don't like having to explain this because I don't believe in it. But Ryan sort of got that like bro mentality where it's bro code, and D'Angelo Russell with the like broke the bro code and sort of like spilled the beans on his dude cheating. What was it? Was it Swaggy P? Was it Nick Young?
With Iggy Azalea or whoever that is.
Yeah, some pop star chick that we don't fucking listen to. You know what though? Like, I mean, really, like, Swaggy P doesn't even matter. Like, we care. We care what Swaggy. We care what affected Swaggy.
But again, deloading. He's still kind of that young upside player.
Well, maybe that just means he has a sense of morality. That's not bad. I don't know. Maybe that means he's a good player. I don't know. You could look at that several ways. Depends on your outlook, I suppose.
I think he was just trying to be funny and was being stupid.
Well, that's probably true. He probably doesn't. Whatever. The whole point is Ryan doesn't like as much upside as D'Angelo Russell may have. You're not moving anything for like a piece of D'Angelo Russell or anything else.
Right.
So, I mean, is there anything that you can find out there? Have you looked? Is there any player, any like scenario that you've thought like? I mean, again, you've got to be very specific. And I know you're throwing these names out there like, oh, I went for KP, I went for. You have to know you're not. I mean, I don't say not try. I mean, anybody should try.
Right. I mean, that was just before I start. Like, okay, let's go here.
Okay, but you're not. You know you're not going to get those players.
Not in our leagues. No. I knew. I mean,
and not in most leagues. I would assume.
Well, Embiid was traded twice.
That's true, but Embiid was traded. What? Oh, I guess someone Porky Pig's talking here.
Traded.
Tweeted. I don't know what's happening right now. Porky Pig's talking. Sorry. I feel like I've lost all concentration now after that happened. What happened there?
I don't know.
I blame. What were you doing? I heard things happening and I just got distracted. Now I've lost my entire train of thought.
So again,
about making twades.
I mean, obviously,
you're not going to get those players though. Like, right. Embiid went for Miles Turner, and that was early in the year, and then Embiid went right after that for Kyrie Irving. So those were different package trades, but I mean, you're not going to get. You're not. You got to know. I mean, like any guy that you really, really want, especially if we've ever talked about them, you're not going to get them. Well, these are leagues where addicts are in. You're not going to get the players we've ever talked about.
Honestly, I think the best trading partner I have is Mike Foucault.
Fucked out the window, Mike.
Right, but he needs to be replaced.
Okay, we went into this. He had better warning on Monday when we originally did this podcast. We were going to put him on notice. Is he still not checked in?
Nah.
Look, double check. Check for me now. I want to be sure. Ryan,
I'm looking at his team with Al Horford on his bench, and
he's had a lot of players on his bench. When was the last time he was checked in?
December 27th. It's a month.
Okay, double check the FSAA leagues. I'd like to cross compare leagues that Mike Foucault is in. Our buddy Mike fucked out a window. Mike Foucault. We love him. He's a great addict. He's a great friend of the program. But if he is in fact napping on these dynasty teams, especially in my home league, that's kind of a major no-no and a pretty big sin.
Same thing, the December 27th.
So in the FSAA leagues? Okay, so look, we draw a hard line. Like if you want to be in the FSAA leagues, because we don't host a million of them, if you want to host a couple where we're not in them, if we're in it, we don't want any fucking around. We'd rather be the guys in last place than you.
If we're fucking around, we'll just delete the league.
We've done it. We've done that. But so, Mike, hopefully you respond sooner than later because we were supposed to make it Friday, were we not?
Well, yeah, just because that puts it at 1 month.
Okay, so we were going to say, Mike, if you don't respond by Friday for these dynasty leagues, there's trouble. I think I tried to convince you to also replace Bruce, who is second to last place in your league, which was formerly Caius's league, the Dynasty Basketball League. Give that team to Bronson to tank and rebuild, which is already – Bronson could already have done a better job than that clown has ever done in fucking the entire time I've been there. I've been there. Look, all right, this guy has had a team worse than mine since I got into that league, and look where I've brought my team. Look what I have on my team. And he's had better draft options than I've had. He's had better, trade chips. This guy just doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, this Bruce motherfucker. Get him out. Give it to Bronson. Bronson can at least amass some youth and some talent.
See, Reese is even saying he wants some of Mike's players.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. I gave you the option. If you let Bronson into the league that you're commissioner of, I will let you name Mike Foucault's replacement. And that's not
Why do I gotta let Bronson in?
It's just a trade-off. I'll let you name whoever your replacement is. And
No. You're holding my league over me to get something done in the other leagues.
I'm not trying to get anything done in any league. I don't have to replace Mike in my league, and you don't have to replace anybody in your league.
Okay.
I'm just offering a commish to commish trade in multiple leagues.
I don't want Bronson in my league.
Why are you so anti-Bronson? He can't make that team any worse. It can only get better. And Bronson with a team that terrible is absolutely the best person to own that team. There's pieces for Bronson. He'd be like, all right, cool. I'm playing for first pick. You know what I mean? I just feel like it makes sense. That's just me.
All right, we'll discuss this.
We'll revisit it, but I just hope we hear from Mike. I hope we hear from Mike Foucault. I hope he checks in, and I hope, honestly, whenever you hear of an absence from a fantasy manager that's pretty dedicated, like we normally have with Mike McCall and a lot of these addicts. Like, if anytime somebody like just disappears and sort of like goes rogue or ghost, I get a little concerned because it's. I mean, most of the time, people who are like dedicated fantasy sports managers don't just disappear unless something serious happened, like life happened.
No,
or
I think Mike is like an ESPN user, and like because he kind of had this shit last year where like he didn't play a team.
See, I thought that was hazy.
Well, I think it was Hazy and Mike.
Well, all right. I think what we're seeing here is we just got to get a little more selective about some of these leagues. I mean, I hate to say. I mean, I love a lot of these guys, especially when they're around for draft season and stuff. But like, that's the thing. I mean, some people are like draft managers. Some people are like draft addicts. They're not necessarily like full season addicts. That happens, and I understand it. I've seen it. I've been part of it. I've done it.
So we got AJ with us, and he's saying Bronson barely checks in the FSAA leagues. He wants a crack at the home dynasty leagues. And honestly, like AJ, he's made 108 moves and like owning the Roto League and the Dynasty FSAA League.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, active trade manager.
That's true. That dude is making a lot of moves.
Someone like AJ, like, fuck, you're lucky if your league has him in your leagues.
That's true. All right. Well, I mean, I was thinking about a team that literally, like, I mean, AJ doesn't want that team. He doesn't want the, like, literally. All right, so AJ, when I say this team's been, like, the shittiest shit team, it has been. This guy, like, I don't know why. I could never replace him. All right.
He's just a bad manager. He checks in, he signs up, like.
But he doesn't do anything. And I like when I was co-commish before Ryan was commish of this league, like again, Ryan brought me in second year, okay? And the commissioner made me co-commish because he, debating reasons. Ryan doesn't think it was fair, but the guy liked me. And I wanted to get rid of this Bruce from like day one, but we can't get rid of Bruce. Everybody likes Bruce. He's always been around. He's a longtime guy, right? If you give Bruce, like, again, like, if you get rid of Bruce, like, the team that's that bad, nobody, like, somebody you're bringing in, don't give them a shitty team. You know what I mean? There's other teams that are, like, okay that you could, like, give some pieces to for a manager that really wants to come in and rebuild. You know what I mean? But, like,
that's also just kind of one of the things that sucks to, like, replace a manager who hasn't actually done anything wrong other than just generally overall suckiness.
Sucks. But, like, I mean, again, Bronson hasn't played the, like, FSAA leagues as hard, but he's been very active in a lot of the dynasty leagues. Like, he's active in J Money's league. He's active in my league. And, like, while the teams are not sexy and the results are not there, the trade offers are out there, the roster's being set. Like, he's a kid in high school, so, like, give him a little credit with sometimes of some of the stuff. He's not going a month without checking in. I'll give him that. And he's still got trade offers out there all over the place. You were trade offering with him. You had all kinds of talk with him. So I'm just saying, like, you give a kid like that a team, a guy who's like, well, maybe I don't have first pick this year, but I'll have first pick next year, and I'm like 16 years old, so I don't mind how young the players are. Like, that's a good team to give to a kid who's like, I'm interested in this, and I'm in it for the long haul. But, like, we got AJ. Give him a team like, I don't know, somewhere in like 5th, 6th place that's like barely fucking there, just sort of like, how am I there? Actually, we don't have that in your league. We don't have that in my league either, but you know what I'm saying? Like, there's got to be some sort of turnover team where it's like better options. Just
yeah, I mean, I'd probably wait in at least my league to do any replacing until the off season.
I think Bruce needs to go now.
Of course you do.
Well, no, I don't have any. No, I'm not.
But that changes the whole subject of Mike, who hasn't checked in for a month.
All right, well, Bruce checks in, but Bruce doesn't do anything. He doesn't even set his lineup. He just checks in. And he like his team, there's nothing to even set. Like, let's be honest, there's not even a lineup to set. There's nothing. I mean, it's literally just like, let me wait for hopefully someday I can finally get first pick and not suck. And every year when we had the anti-tanking strategy, we enabled tanking. I was able to just like dodge this motherfucker and steal picks he probably should have had. And I was able to rebuild a championship caliber team. And this guy hasn't even tried. He hasn't made trades when he's had options. Like
I know. I understand.
He's the most frustrating. He's the most frustrating manager in that league that we've had forever. And like, I mean, I don't know.
Again, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was an original owner.
He is an original owner. He was there a year before I was. He was the year you were there with the original draft. Like, so he is original, but he's never done anything. He's been in fucking 10th or 11th place every year and never somehow managed to do anything. Never had any young pieces to show for anything. Always drafted like, oh, wow, Tim Duncan. Right? Like, you're in 11th place for 3 years in a row and you draft Tim Duncan with your first pick in his final season. Are you high? You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I don't know. I just think I think there's better managers out there. So I wouldn't be afraid to do any of that in season. That's all I'm saying. But so are like, you know, you'll have to like feel this rebuild out. I mean, I'm happy to help coach you, but again, I come from the school of tanking, and I have since learned that tanking is not entirely the answer. There is some element of tanking. Get your first round pick, get your number 1 overall, get your Karl Anthony Towns, get your piece, and get out.
Trade everything else.
Well, make moves, trades, like build assets, build pieces, make trades, but build your core and make moves, and like also make pickups.
I mean, the closest talk I had was with Bronson, who owns Mike's pick, and it was Drummond. Basically, I want an Ingram, Chris, and Mike's pick, which will be a top 4 pick.
Okay. And I mean, is that a bad trade? Depends on which side of the fence you're on. I wouldn't do it if I was Bronson. Mostly just because I wouldn't move Ingram because he worked so hard to get Brandon Ingram and his, Simmons.
Right.
So, I don't know. I feel like it just depends on the side of the fence you're on. You're going to have to like somehow temper a little bit of your expectations for what you're getting for your players if you want to approach what you're trying to approach. You're probably best bet, like no matter what, if I'm looking at your situation, because you're not so far into the tank that you couldn't get in and out in a year or two, get some draft picks and like just mostly retool and try to like, instead of like, it's not so much trading down, it's just trading younger. So try to get like younger players for your veterans plus picks and use those assets, the younger players and the picks, to make trades to get better core pieces that are younger. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and ideally that's the plan.
It's kind of what I've been able to do in some regards. A little bit of both, a little bit of everything. Originally, I started out full tank like Bronson. But I think, like, it's like you've said, you've shown me, like you can't just do it by like sucking. You have to be active. You can't just like not make moves and sit there and like wait for draft picks to come to you and stuff. Like, I mean, yeah, I was always making trades and stuff, but there's also those like mid-season pickups of like, overlooked rookies.
I always say you got to be, even more active when you're in the tank, and that's how you end up with like Malcolm Brogdon.
Well, and I, up until a couple of years ago, I was really like hesitant to do that because I was like, well, I don't want to accidentally start winning games and ruin my draft position. But you're right. I mean, it is a bit of both. So you've got to have that happy medium. So like, I mean, get Mike's pick for sure. But I mean, you're going to get something good with Mike's pick, but I don't know what you got to give away to get it, and you're not going to give away anything really big to get it. So that's just the trouble. You're going to have to find this happy medium. And in our leagues, it's going to be complicated. In another league, it may not be as complicated. I hope we just sort of like laid out, kind of information about like what people might expect, though, with the varying player evaluations between ages and dynasty players.
I might even still be better off just holding and
waiting for
going at it next year. And I still have, my early pick this year.
So you haven't made a trade. You haven't traded your first round pick yet. You could still, next year's draft's supposed to be fairly deep. Maybe this just isn't your year, but like next year, some of those like fringe playoff teams that aren't championship teams, they'll drop off, go into the tank, and you'll be there to like still fight for a championship, move back in next year,
And, hopefully next year's draft class, and if I have, if I don't make the playoffs, I'll have a top 6 pick.
Right.
Hopefully
basically you should at worst, just avoid the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
Which I think sucks because, since I'm playing for a championship, finally, hopefully, I'm not going to go through you. Well, I mean, again, I'm not going through you. Like, that sucks.
There's still
Woot. There's still J Money. There's a lot of people in my way. Oh, well, I'm in second place in my league. I'm not discounting anybody in any of these teams, though, or any of these leagues, because our top 6 teams, even our top 9 teams in all these leagues are all very formidable teams. Like, I'm in second place. I forget which league. It's my league. It's either my league or your league. I forget, but it's like a 3-way tie for second place. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's got like 6 games back.
It's very competitive. Both of them are.
Yeah. Like, so we're all 6 games back of like the guy in first place. And so it's very, but this is your time to capitalize. This is your time to like try to like gas up that team that's like tied with me, but still technically in like 5th place or whatever. And be like, you don't want it to go to Tom, like. Here you go.
Again, I'm trying to sell basically between like 3rd and 7th place teams.
Makes sense. Yeah. See if you can pawn off, get some of their younger
players. Speaking of, I still have a PG for Turner.
Paul George for Miles Turner. Well, it's an offer we'll have to consider. We'll put that out there. We'll see if Miles Turner gets traded for Paul George.
It's out there.
And
another thing I want to mention.
Please do.
Pie bet.
Oh, no.
I like last podcast you were talking about being retired from pie bets.
I am Floyd Money Mayweather. I'm going to retire with a perfect pie bet record.
No, you still lost the very first pie.
Well, that didn't count. That was a bet you made on my behalf, which I was no longer... that was a tag team match. That didn't count as like... No, that was a tag team match. That was you bet on my behalf, you and I both, versus Bronson. So that's not an individual record. That's not an individual match. So that was a tag team match that I was not technically even part of. I was just there for like moral support for you to lose. Because you lose every pie that you've made ever. And so you're so desperate to pie me again. You want to draw me out of retirement and my perfect record to pie me somehow, some way. It doesn't matter which matchup or which side of the bet for this Super Bowl in 2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm just gonna have to say let's amp it up. If there's excitement for it, if people want to see it, I want to see some hit the donate button on the YouTube channel, buy a T-shirt, leave a bunch of comments, post a video talking shit, especially you. I think you should call me out on YouTube. I don't know. I'm waiting for something. Like, you want me to bring myself out of retirement with a perfect record?
I just want to make a pie bet for the Super Bowl.
Well, I don't. I mean, since look, I'm the champion here. Okay, I'm Money Mayweather. Like, if I want to make a pie bet, I'll call you. Don't call me. I'll call you. Like, we set the odds. We set the money. Like,
oh yeah,
yeah. That if I make pie bets, I'm calling you. You know, like, I've earned that right. I'm the champ. Okay, look, I'm undefeated.
Shit.
I've earned it. I've earned the right. You've lost every pie bet you've made with anybody. Okay, even your dog's been pied because of your shenanigans.
No, I've won one.
I don't know which one that was.
That was the Michael Jordan flu game trivia question that you got wrong.
Well, we called it null and void.
Well, I had negative pies.
It was stricken from the record.
Stricken. Why was it stricken? Just because I owed other pies?
No, you struck it from the record. I asked you, is it stricken from the record? You said yes.
Why? That makes no sense.
Well, I asked you that like 2 months ago. Oh, look, I have a perfect record and I'm retired. So if you want this pie bet, Ryan, and you want to get like a nice, really well-made cherry pie or apple pie, just something so super, not just shaving cream, something super, super delicious.
Honestly, Tom, I'll bake you a pie.
But what is the point of baking a pie so delicious for me that I have to hit you with?
No,
do you really want to bake
it?
Do you really want to? You really want to?
I'm not going to bake it for me to get pie with. I'm only going to bake it if I get a pie you.
No. That's the thing, is the pie has to be standby, ready, on hand, on scene, live, immediately following the Super Bowl, which I know you're working for.
Super Bowl.
You're supposed to quit working the Super Bowl. Not quit your job, but like not work the Super Bowl. Look, you whoa, back the fuck up again. I said this during the last podcast. You want me to be part of a pie bet you're not even actively there for? Like, so I'm supposed to lose a pie bet just so you can hit me with a pie. And you're not even there to like rub it in, talk the shit, be part of the broadcast, pie me live immediately following the Super Bowl. I'm just not feeling it. Like, I'm not coming out of retirement for non-live, non-pie. Like, you're doing it on scene, on site, whether, and if you bake that cherry pie and you lose, that cherry pie goes in your face, bitch. Like, I mean, I'm sorry. Like, if you want me to be out, like, you're drawing me out of retirement with a perfect record.
All right.
I'm retiring. How many other people have won this many pie bets? You got hit with like 150 pies last year, Ryan. 150 pies in 1 year. How many other people have been hit with 150 pies? I'm sure like clowns somewhere. There's some clown record. You're not even a fucking professional clown.
And I haven't gotten to hit you in the face with a pie. That's why.
Not once. And I don't think you ever will, because again, like, this is like tiddlywink. You're like, look, I'm like Lincoln Logs, and you're trying to get me to play tiddlywinks, okay?
All right, Tom. Tom, if I can
pick up 6.
If I call out of work and we live stream and I bake a pie, will you take a pie bet?
That's at least this. I'm not going to say yes. I'm not going to agree to that. Yes, but those are the starting conditions. Okay.
Starting conditions.
So you bake the fucking pie. You do a live stream. We hang out for the Super Bowl. You're not working. Those are the minimum qualifications for this pie bet. And I'm not even saying I agree to that being the pie bet, but that's at least the starting point, okay? Those are the parameters for the match, okay? Let's talk about the financial specifics. Because, you're setting up a match with Money Mayweather over here. Like, like there's going to be puggy pies, and there's going to be all kinds of... this isn't just like... Look, I'm coming out of retirement for this.
You never retired.
Look, I was done in 2016, man. I walked away. I didn't get any pleasure pieing you and beating you so mercilessly.
Yeah, you did. I saw your face.
I did not. I mean, it was funny, but I did not enjoy it, mostly because you were dodging it. But I did not enjoy it the same way you think I did. And I know the way you would.
I will.
But what if you don't? What if you lose again, Ryan? What if you lose again? Like you baked a really super delicious pie and you're going to lose a Super Bowl bet, and that super delicious pie that you've been planning for 2 weeks to hit your mortal enemy Tom in the face with. But now that super delicious pie, that's for you, buddy. What are you going to do?
That'll be the worst thing that happens to me all year.
What are you
horrible.
Are you going to retire from pie bets at that point? I'm tired of losing.
No.
This could be the rebirth of your career, the absolute end of your pie bet career. I don't know. Maybe we need just a new kind of betting. Do we need a new betting system? Should we change up the bets? Like, I don't know. It's hot Coke, steaming hot Coke.
Was there anything else we needed to go over, Tom?
I don't know. I want you to amp this up though. Like if you want to draw me out of retirement, I want the whole community. I want a YouTube donation. I want somebody to buy a shirt. I want some sort of gesture where people are drawing me out of retirement to destroy Ryan one more time. And a Super Bowl pie bet with an actual pie, possibly homemade by Ryan. I hope so.
Son of a bitch.
Are you up for this? Are you sure you want this? I mean, you know what the minimum qualifications are, so.
Well, I just need notice if I'm going to request time off of work.
Well, we can still hang out and do the live stream. It's just like set up the parameters for the pie. Well, you want me to get pied? Set it up and let's go through the minimum.
I'm not going to get work off if I know I'm not going to get a chance to pie you.
Well, then drum up the support.
All right.
Get the addicts riled up. I don't know. Does anybody want to see me get pied? Probably not. They love getting you pied. I don't know. Nobody's really all that excited to see me get pied because they like watching me win. They don't want to see me break my streak. Because I am.
There's got to be some addict out there that wants me to win.
I don't know. Somebody hit the donate button. Just give Ryan a little nod of support. Buy him a pie tin. Hit him some $2. Something. All right, let's see. I hope so. I hope I'm drawn out of retirement because I just want to beat you mercilessly. I just want to beat your faith in one more time. Oh man, I'm just gonna take my opponent. I'm gonna take him to shirt. I'm gonna beat you, dude. I'll beat you again.
You're Floyd Mayweather, and I'm Conor McGregor.
How many times has Conor McGregor been undefeated? Oh wait, he's not undefeated, is he? Could he bash Mayweather's face in? Quite possibly, quite likely. But what's going to make it worth Mayweather's time financially? That's like this match, And we're talking about if this was like another Cubs World Series, 108 pies, something that was like, worth my time to come out of retirement, and I've already beat you. Like, all right, this is like, remember the game Punch-Out for Nintendo?
Yeah, of course.
Well, like, you're still in that like lower circuit, you know what I mean? Like, I'm in the championship circuit, like undefeated. You're like Little Mac challenging like Piston Honda in the third round or third circuit, you know what I mean? Like, wait a minute, I thought you played in the first round. Nope, I'm still in the third round. Bald Bull, Soda Popinski. Come on, little Mac. You got to make it worth my while. Like, I don't want to lose my record to you. You got to make it worth my while. Come on. I'm in a higher bracket. Can you not admit that? Can you not?
Shut up.
You can't even at least allow me that?
No.
You son of a bitch. All right, Ryan. Well, you know what? It's fine. It's all right. It's okay. Look, I know how hard it is to lose a lot. Trust me, I've been there. But I've never lost like 150 pies to the face. But
no, it's not even about winning or losing. It's just about how badly I want to hit you in the face with a pie.
Do you understand that I have no interest in hitting you in the face with a pie? Like, you have this like really sick obsession with like hurting me or something. It's very bizarre. It's like very sadistic. It's become sadistic and frightening. So now that's an added element to drawing me out of my retirement. I don't know if I want to get hurt. I didn't take that much pleasure in hitting you with pies. I mean, it was funny. When I was like, that Ryan, I gotta drown him in pie. You psycho. All right. Well, hopefully we can find some resolution on this pie bet. And thank you, everybody, for hanging out this late at night with us. It was a fun second podcast again.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate it. Any last comments? Anybody saying anything? Or
Nah, we got a fuck Trump comment. I was going to put him in timeout, but I decided to let it slide.
Well, everybody's voicing their opinions now. I think that's just the state of our society. Everybody just says what they want, and civility's out the window. And
I'm politically agnostic, so I personally don't care. You can say anything, won't me or bother me.
Actually, you know what? I'm not. I'm just like politically atheist. Like, I don't want any politics. Like, I prefer no politics, but you know what? If you got to say it loud. You know what I'm saying? Say it loud. Have fun. There you go. That's fine. I did get rid of a few of our Twitter people. I couldn't take anymore, dude. I really couldn't. Oh my god.
The politics?
Yeah, I couldn't take anymore. Dude. Oh god.
Did you get rid of the Sager bomb?
Yes, I did. I got rid of both Sager children. Okay. I got rid of both Sager children because I couldn't take anymore. All right, look. All right, nothing against what's her name, Casey or
something Casey.
Craig Sager the second. The Sager children, but they're just too much. Like, it's too loud. It's too much. I don't care what they feel like. I don't care what their politics are.
Well, see, that's the thing. Power. You didn't even have to tell me who you got rid of, and I asked, and I got it right.
There's just some people that are so loud on Twitter. It's just like, oh, I can't have. It's like people stopped having jobs and lives all of a sudden, and I don't care which side of the political spectrum they're tweeting about. It just seems like people just have nothing else to do now but tweet politics. And I'm like, please just let it. Like, what happened to sports? I like sports. Sports, God damn it. Bring back the sports. We're all safe if we like sports.
Right. So, anyways, the junior or the second, he didn't bother me. I didn't notice him nearly as much.
But they were like a tag team. They were like a tag team. It was like they were like feeding each other shit. It was insane. I couldn't take it. I couldn't take anymore. And again, I don't care. Good. You hate Trump. That's fine. Or good. You hated Hillary. That's fine. Cool. Just like we're all like sports people. Let's try to talk a little more sports and not just constantly stuff that like just brings us all down. You know what I'm saying? Like it just brings us all down. Like we're all bummed out. We're like, oh God. You know what I mean? Like we're all just like, you see it, you're like, you know?
Oh yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. You're just like, please, no more. I just want to, you know what I want to talk about? Oh God, Ryan, you know what it is?
Fantasy draft, woo!
No, we're like literally like, oh God, we're like probably like 24 hours away and Yahoo's going to open fantasy baseball again and everything's going to be okay. It's going to heal the country. it'll heal the world even. We're all going to be able to gather around fantasy baseball and everything will be okay. And everything will calm down and nobody's going to be angry anymore, or we're going to be slightly less angry. Some of us, I can't guarantee that I will, but I may find other things to get angry about. We never know. But I think we can heal, it'll bring us all together. So that's my, that's my prayer tonight as we end this meeting of Fantasy Sports Addicts Anonymous. And I want to close with this prayer. Fantasy gods, please grant me the serenity, set my ideal lineups, courage to not tweet political tweets so aggressively, the courage to, stuff. And what was the other one? Oh yeah.
Amen.
Be patient enough for fantasy baseball to open and let the healing begin. Let the healing begin, everyone. As a nation, let us heal. Right?
Oh,
fantasy baseball is upon us. I appreciate it. Thank Christ for it. Oh, it's going to be beautiful. Yeah! Fantasy baseball. Now, if you got to get yourself in a draft, fantasysportsaddicts.com is the place to go. Find out some mock drafts or get yourself in a league, the FSAA leagues, whatever. Our Twitter handle is at letter F, letter S, word double, letter A, FSAA. Hey, check out that new nice Twitter graphic we got going on. Yeah, redid it. Yay, after 3 years. Yippee. Good job, Tom. And, our friends, Cubby Noel on YouTube, CUBBYNOLE. He's a Cubs fan and a Florida State Seminoles fan.
And Fantasy Aid, Andrew, what up?
That's right. Fantasy Aid, always with the videos and the positional tires.
Tires, yeah.
You know what? Honestly, you know what I think you should do? Since that's just sort of like just something that happens, you should actually spell it tires and call them tires. This is his tires. These are his tires videos. I think that'd be hilarious. What would it be? Do you think people would not like it, or I would do it? I would do it.
I would do it, but
I would do it, but all right, Andrew, don't do what we thought we should do. Don't do that. But I think it would be fucking hilarious if he's like, "This is my third base tire video."
Tires.
All right, sorry.
At least do it once.
One time, just as a joke. Yeah, like a little homage to the history. I think it's funny. I don't know. Yeah. Not everybody has that sensibility, though. We know that. Okay, so.
All right, well, yeah, I gotta make some dinner.
Ryan, go make dinner. Thank you, podcast 76. Good thing it's like 1 in the morning. Part 2. Second time we did it. Hopefully it doesn't get collapsed. Fuck you, Bob Dylan, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right.
Woo!